Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along. There we go to Tuesday night on Twitch, and it is, of course, Wiz Motorsports Super League Season 3 tonight. Round number 5 from a very rainy Donington. This is going to be a good one. We've got Roberto Ricci there, championship leader, out qualifying with the rest of the field. And at the moment, it has very much been the Roberto Ricci show. 4 races so far, including the drop round. There is a drop round as well, but despite the drop round, 4 trips to the podium twice. The top spot, 1 second and a third. So very much in his hands with 2 rounds to go. 12 points ahead of Evan Cairns as a massive Ferrari fan. Beautiful to see. Championship being led by the greatest car in Assetto Corsa Competizione. I have been saying it for a while. Proof if ever we needed it. With a 12-point gap between first and second, there's only 10 points between second and third. Nigel O'Brien in the Honda. 3 trips onto the podium himself. The drop round, a 4th place there. Sorry, Evan Cairns as well. 4 trips onto the podium. 3 second places. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride, until round number 4. Picked himself up a win last week. 303 points. Dean Power, almost 40 points behind O'Brien, but only 9 points ahead of Coleman Corkery, so likely to be looking over his shoulder rather than ahead. Gavin Taylor in 6th place, only 24 points down on Coleman, but with the points distributed the way they are, it's going to be a big ask with 2 races to go. Gunther Deportier, Jake Rose, 225 points each. All 3 drivers on exactly the same score. And in fact, Jake Rose, after a sensational start to the season with 2 50s, last 2 races 19th and 17th. So certainly a case of what could have been for Jake, given he's currently tied for 6th place. So in 7th in the championship then, 9th in the standings, it is Rafa Scullion, 216 points, only 3 points ahead though of Jason Lingard there, rounding out the top 10. Ian Paskin and Fabio Gallimini sharing the same points tally as well. And only 3 points separating Stephen Mullen and Stuart Brierton. With Luca Accorsi only 2 points back again. Another 2 points back, Trevor McSweeney. So right down through the field, very close. There wasn't, 2 points there as well. Kim Sain and Magic Youssef. Although they 2 didn't start the last couple of races. So there was no point in me looking that far down the table. The drivers, as I mentioned, out in qualifying here at Donington. An absolute knee trembler of a track on the best of days, and this is most definitely not the best of days. Roberto Ricci is making the most of it though. 1 minute 31.082 sees him atop the field at the moment. Almost half a second of his main championship rival, Evan Cairns. Then it is, look at Accorsi. Just getting ahead of fellow Aston Martin driving Jason Lingard then. So that is, Raggioli Racing. 2 cars in the top. Hopefully you guys are seeing all that picture. Mine's just slightly cut off. Oh yeah, no, it's all coming through. Lovely. Let me turn this up a little bit. See if you can actually hear the game. There we go. Right, and you do actually hear that creaking. So we're going to turn that down. There we go. But look at Corsi in 3rd, Jason Lingard 4th, Nigel O'Brien in the Honda, 3rd in the championship, 5th in the standings. I did get a quick chat with him earlier this evening, and not looking forward to the Honda here at Donington. I don't imagine the rain has eased those worries any. But still 5th at the minute, just ahead of Deportier in 6th, and Dylan Flanagan in 7th place. The man, the myth, the legend. Raphael Scullion himself, 8th place. Ian Paskin in 9th at the moment, ahead. Gavin Taylor, McSweeney and Brierton, both with times set as well. Gallimini in 13th, and Dean Power been getting some insider information that he's fairly picking up the pace at the moment, is Dean. So we'll see if that holds true in the race this evening. But yeah, totally expect big things from him tonight. I'm just going to quickly see if we can sort out the audio on the microphone while the guys and gals, 6.5 minutes left to go. Not convinced that's working, but it says it is, so there we go. Yep, no, okay, it says it is, so we'll go with that now. We are at Donington, one of the oldest tracks in Britain, if not potentially the oldest, certainly through the modern era. 1930s, it was built 1931. The first races taking part here, 2.1 miles long, 2.4, 2.5, 2.5 miles at the minute. So not much of an extension, but certainly the Melbourne hairpin has been an interesting one. Do love a blind downhill braking zone. Said no race driver ever, but that is generally the way with British racetracks. Absolute madness. Let's have a look at Roberto Ricci. Has just pulled into the pits. There is Evan. So he's just come through turn number 1, Red Gate, down into Hollywood. The Craner curves, as you can see, massively off camber into the old hairpin. It's actually horrifying just how quickly you can get your way through there when taken correctly. Into Starkey's Bridge and then into Schwant's Curve. McLean's, again, another one of these unsighted due to undulation braking zones, as you can see. Quite the steep little climb there. Sorry, Coppice. And then on to the Starkey Straight. And then it is where this is the extension from the original track into the Fogarty S's. More of a chicane than an S, really. I expect the tyre barriers to be gone first lap, then downhill into the Melbourne hairpin. The tyres squealing, looking for any bit of grip that they can as he heads towards Goddard's to complete the lap. Again, another unsighted apex as he turns down the hill, takes it very wide indeed. Looking for as much momentum across the start-finish line as he can to start his penultimate qualifying lap. 1 minute 33 minutes 30 left on the clock. Actually, could still get another 3. The way things stand, and I'm sure he will be looking to get as many as he can in, given that he needs to find at the moment 3.5 tenths. He is half a second ahead of a Corsair. So once again, the Ferrari duo separating themselves quite comfortably from the rest of the field. O'Brien, currently in 5th, does go quicker, gets to within a second, but he is going to need to find a fair bit of time still. Alex Mielchin has joined as well, so we're up to 15. Dean Power is the one I'm going to watch. Oh, his post livery hasn't worked this week. So yeah, must have been an update on that, but we'll get that sorted for next week. So yeah, we do have 15 on the track now. Alex Mielchin joining as well. Only 2 minutes left of qualifying. So he is going to have to go some to set a time. Yeah, he's about halfway through the lap, so he does have time to complete this lap and start another one, which he's going to need. Lingard looking to get himself up a position. Although he's just dropped a bit of time on the delta there, just as I say, that curse of the commentator kicking in. Oh, and he's just found. Oh, wow. Yep, that was a good corner, but look at a Corsi. I think he might be watching the... Oh, and now Corsi off track. And, yeah, someone's up with the graphics. Shadow's not working. He's returned to the pits. Whereas Lingard has returned to finding time. 3:10 at the minute. He's got in his pocket. Onto the Staircase Straight in the Aston Martin. A Corsi, I would guesstimate. Yeah, no, actually, no guesstimate. 1 minute 20 left. He's not going to get an outlap. Of course, any driver that does cross the line before the timer runs out will be allowed to finish the lap that they have started. But Paskin, Taylor, McSweeney and Gallimini all in the pits. Mielchin then just needs to set a time. Or if you can get a time set, yeah, he's certainly positions there to take. Given that the bottom two at the moment in the pits, no improvement at the moment for Bryant, and he's in the pits. Lingard. Oh, as I was looking at the rest of the times, he's lost that 2:10s then. He does have the opportunity to finish another lap though. Ricci a second down on this one. He's going to need a good run across the line and a really good turn one. Again, another driver on his last chance. With 26 seconds left to go, the timer will expire. Mielchin is in the gravel, so he's not going to get a time set. So he is going to start in 15th position. There he is back to the pits. Jason Lingard threatening time. So too Dean Power crosses the line in 6th. Oh, he'd already crossed the line, so yeah, up to 6th place then. And I think he just made that, so he is going to get another lap as well. So Lingard, Staircase Straight, not long to go before we find out what's going on with his lap. Cairns and a Corsi in the pits, so too O'Brien. 5th place for O'Brien. Paskin, Taylor, Bryant and McSweeney, Gallimini and Mielchin. Their times are all set. Gunther Deportier. Going green in the deltas occasionally. He's going to need a couple of tenths to get ahead of Power. Here comes Lingard. Oh, Lingard is looking for 3rd position, and I think he's got it. He has indeed. So there we go. Lingard on his last lap in the Aston. Gets himself to within 6/10 of pole position. And a position at the front of row number 2. Ricci is stationary. Dean Power coming through the last couple of corners now. He's dealt as well. Actually, we don't know because this would appear to be his first flying lap out of the pits. So we'll see what happens when he crosses the line. The poor squirrel in ever so slightly in the wet, as you would expect, and no improvement there. So that is qualifying done and dusted. Let us do that and that. Phenomenal. So it is Ricci with all 3 purple sectors then. 1 minute 30.272 for him. We've got Evan Cairns in 2nd place. So the championship leaders doing what they do best and leading from the front. Qualifying and the races. Lingard up in the 3rd place then with a phenomenal effort at the end there. A Corsi joining him on the 2nd row of the grid. So it's Ragioli Racing, Wiz Motorsport, Ragioli Racing, then a whole lot of Wiz Motorsport with Nigel O'Brien, Dean Power, Gunther Deportier, Rafa Scullion, 5th through to 8th. On row number 5, Flanagan and Paskin. On row number 5, 9th and 10th, Paskin and Flanagan. On row 6, Taylor and Bryant, McSweeney and Gallimini, 13th and 14th, and Mielchin, with no time set, will bring up the rear of the field to start. In 15th position. It is a 30-minute sprint race, although we'll see just how much sprinting gets done in these conditions. Again, Donington. Certainly an interesting track. And with these undulations in these conditions, could certainly be an interesting one. Zizo Fitness, 5 hole on 5. I fear I may be missing something in the translation But yeah, Diaz. Caught myself out there. Yes, we've got 15 on the track for this evening, the 30-minute sprint race. The next one really excessive now, isn't it? So we'll fix that up here. But yeah, 15 on track, 30-minute race to take place, no mandatory pit stop, of course. And yeah, Roberto Ricci, if he gets himself on the podium, he has all but guaranteed himself the championship. Nürburgring next week. That is going to be an absolute cracker of a race. The Ferraris, the Hondas, and the Astons, and the Mercedes as well. All the cars do go well. So it is going to all be down to conditions and drivers. We've got 40 seconds left. We've got a short formation lap for the drivers today. We'll stick on here the car actually. 30 seconds, here's the notifications for that. Excellent. Do that. Yeah, there we go. Let's get back on the live pictures. As the drivers all drop their cars as late as possible. Short formation laps, so they will be dropping as late as possible to try and maintain as much heat in the tyres and brakes as possible. 15 brave souls out on track. Let's see how they go for this one. Seen a great season so far from quite a few of the drivers. Turning solid qualifying into even more solid. Oh, Ricci right on that inside curve there. The drivers trying to warm their tyres. I would suggest that's potentially in vain. Best thing here to do would be jamming on and off the brakes. Get some heat in those brakes for turn number one. Absolutely going to be the key to success here. You cannot win a race in turn number one. You can absolutely lose one. So we'll see if the drivers are paying full attention to the cold brakes and cold tyres in these extremely cold British conditions. We're going to see the green lights. It's going to be foot down, flat out, and into turn number one for Ricci and for Cairns, followed closely by Lingard and a Corsi. And it's a good start for the lead two. And in fact, it's a good start as well for Lingard up the inside, putting a Corsi. Oh, sorry, a Corsi getting a good start going around the outside, and Cairns getting it done. Oh, there's been contact, big contact there between Lingard and a Corsi miles off the track. Evan Cairns getting an absolute worldie of an overtake yet again into turn number one. He did this last week and held off to win the race, but we're going to have another look back and see what happened there between the lead two. There is the start. You can see a Corsi moving over to defend the inside line. The Honda in the back. Oh, the Porsche in the back almost causing contact there. He managed to get out of the way. Sorry, not causing contact. There, that's a 50-50 one for me. Was one of those Astons unsettled by the curves. You can see in the foreground there was another. Stuart Brierton took avoiding action. So he's ended up back down in 15th position. A Corsi now down in 14th, Gallimini in 13th. Let's get back up to the front where it is. Evan Cairns still leading the way with Roberto Ricci in second place. It's now Dean Power up into third. Nigel O'Brien's up to fifth. O'Brien's up to fourth. Deportier's up to fifth. Rafa Scullion in sixth position. Flanagan in seventh. Taylor in eighth. Lingard now in ninth place. McSweeney rounding out the top 10 with an Ian Paskin hot on his heels as they come into turn number one. Close train of cars ahead as you can see them all filing into turn number one. The Audi of Paskin having a look up the inside. He's going to need to hold this one very well on the brakes, and he does in fact get the car in front. Beautiful overtake up the inside into turn number one there. And that is Paskin up another position up to 10th place then. So yeah, a bit of a contact on lap one, but oh, what's happened there? Gunther Deportier's just pulled off the track. So into turn number one, all looks well. He's on the curb, no wiggle from the car. Comes down towards the Craner curves. Rafa Scullion still behind him. He has seen the overtake up the road. Into the old hairpin. Oh, did that look like a bit of oversteer on the back of the car? He's just pulled over there. Very nearly took a Rafa Scullion in the rear spoiler there. But Deportier tumbling down on, in fact, has returned to the pit, so there's been some kind of issue there. Evan Cairns, no issues up at the front for him. He's got Roberto Ricci still closing in on him. And at the moment, he's holding the fastest lap. Something that's helped Ricci extend his gap at the top, taking a lot of the fastest laps. In fact, I think he's taken every single one. So every race, even if he's not won them, he has recorded the fastest lap, which has given him a bonus couple of points. And that could certainly be the difference here, as Evan Cairns looking for back-to-back wins. We're only 4 minutes into this one, a lot to go. Dean Power there, I did again, got some insider info that he was looking quite good around here and looking quite quick. A couple of incidents and he's glided his way through. He's up into third. He's got Nigel O'Brien third in the championship in the Honda, chasing him down into the old hairpin. And there, not far up the road, that is Rafa Scullion, 5th place for the boss man. Dylan Flanagan in 6th position with Gavin Taylor and Jason Lingard not far behind. Lingard looking to recover from that early incident. But that's two of his teammates very close to him indeed. And Ian on a charge, Paskin in the Audi after a beautiful turn 1 overtake. He's certainly game for taking more positions, you would guesstimate. And it is the Wiz Motorsport trio of Flanagan, Taylor and Lingard that he's got ahead along the Starkey Straight through the chicane ahead of the Fogarty S's chicane. It's potato. We're 2 laps in and the tyre barriers are still withstanding. We're going to have to speak to the drivers' union about that one. Somebody's done something wrong. And Roberto Ricci's in the pits with the fastest lap. No, he's not in the pits. He's down in 14th position. So I did not see that as I was too busy watching the battle between the Audi. So let's jump back on to the replay. He's coming towards Coppice. Not quite at Coppice yet, but I'm thinking that potentially where the mistake was before he got onto the Starkey Straight. He says questioning rather than informatively. Over the inside curve. Brave move, but still keeping it going. He stays off the outside curve actually, so using as much acceleration on the tarmac as possible. Doesn't want to lose any on the red and whites. Into the Fogarty S. Did look a bit later on the brakes there than Cairns. Oh, how did he hold that there? That looked like an extra bit of steering input to hold that down towards Melbourne. And then Goddard's very close. Is he already down the field here? Yeah, he is, and he's just been overtaken by a car. Oh, and there goes McSweeney. So whatever happened, I've completely missed whatever happened. To Roberto Ricci, so that is an absolute nightmare. By the time I jumped on there, I'll maybe have to have a look. Actually, what lap 3? I'm going to get the replay after the race. We'll get the replay saved. We'll have a look at that and see what happened to Ricci because he's dropped right down the order. There is McSweeney. Ooh, and that is game over there. Yeah, no, can't be that many tyres as we see on the green stuff. And I do mean the green smooth AstroTurf stuff. And that will rotate your car every single time. Nigel O'Brien was a bit fearful. He did think he could get himself onto the podium, despite the Honda being not the best car at this track, and he has got himself onto the podium, and he is applying pressure to Dean Power ahead. Evan Cairns then, he is now comfortably leading the race. Certainly a stark contrast to last week's race when he had Ricci absolutely glued to his spoiler for the entire 30 minutes. Now, oh, Ricci's just rejoined the server. Okay, so Ricci's been disconnected from the server and he's had to rejoin. And he's jumped in the first car he could find. So he will go back out and he's going to have to serve a 2-minute penalty for having the decency to come back in and try and finish the race. Yes, that was a dig at Kunos. You need to sort that out. If someone gets disconnected from the server, please don't make them spend an extra 2 minutes in the pit. It's not their fault. Quite frankly, it's unfair. What's not unfair? All these drivers that are keeping it between the Mayo and the Mustard. Rafa Scullion up into 4th place. Jason Lingard 5th place. Yeah, and if anyone is questioning that last couple of sentences, so am I, to be honest, and probably will for the rest of the night. Ian Paskin up to 6th place. Flanagan in 7th. Of Corsi now in 8th place. After that first lap contact with Lingard. Mielchin up to 9th place then. Started in 15th. Didn't get a qualifying time set. He's in the top 10 ahead of Fabio Gallimini, who's now rounding out the top 10. McSweeney went for a swim in the grass. He's now in 11th. Bryerton, another little spin early in the race. Another driver had a little spin early in the race as well. 12th position. Gavin Taylor in 13th. And yeah, Ricci back in the pits. Deportier has been disconnected from the server, as well as one more driver. That's dropped straight off my timing board as well. Oh no, 15. Deportier was 15, so he has been disconnected. Unfortunately, let's have a look at Jason Lingard. Oh, and he's got the overtake done already, so let's have a look at that. So here he is. Looking to get himself back up to 4th position. Round the final hairpin then, just catch him at Burns End underneath the BMW drift. Bridge past the pit lane. One of the shortest and quickest in motor sporting history. Definitely designed for efficiency. Into turn number 1. All looking very good for both the drivers. Down towards the Craner curves. These ones certainly separate the drivers from the Skyvars. And this undulation in these conditions, so easy to lose the car. Oh, look how much closer, how much later the Aston Martin was on the brakes there. Unbelievably well to avoid contact. So close to the Porsche he got there, but Lingard back up to 4th position. Nigel O'Brien still chasing Dean Power, and Evan Cairns now very comfortably leading the way. That is a fairly monstrous gap he's got. Let's have a look at Gav Taylor. Ooh, round the last corner. He was a bit close to Bryant there, didn't manage to pull it off. And he will continue to chase, although I don't believe... Oh yeah, it is Bryant in the head. So there we go. Mielchin as well. He's looking great this evening. 15th place without a qualifying time. He's now closed right in on Gallimini. So looking to get himself back up to 9th place. And Rafa Scullion coming under pressure soon from Ian Paskin, who's putting in slightly quicker laps as well. So Paskin in the Audi, certainly deserving the position that he finds himself in. World of an overtake into turn number 1, lap 3. And he is not looking back, although Scullion is just finding a good bit of time on him there through the start of sector number 3. 2.6 now that gap then. Scullion 1.1 down on Lingard. Lingard with 5.5 to make up to O'Brien, who's 3rd in the championship. Can he catch up to this battle? It is Power and Cairns that are battling for the final 2 podium positions. Evan Cairns is going to be battling purely with himself and the conditions. 5.1 seconds is now the gap that he's got. Roberto Ricci, championship leader, got disconnected from the server, and he has rejoined to make sure he gets the race finished. Love to see it. And Gavin Taylor, oh, side-by-side action. And who is that that's getting involved? Is that Evan Cairns? No, it's not. It's Taylor, McSweeney and Bryerton, in fact. So that is a phenomenal sequence between those 3 drivers. Let's just have a look back at this. So that is Taylor, McSweeney and Bryerton. We're on board at the minute with Gavin Taylor, who is at the back of these 3 cars as they come down through the old hairpin. You can see he is the closer of the 2. McSweeney ahead of his 2 teammates then. Ooh, all 3 of them neatly through, although not the best exit from the Fogarty S's for Bryant, sorry. Oh, and really heavy on the brakes right on the inside. That opened the door for the Ferrari to go round the outside, but the Mercedes stepped in and said thank you very much. And coming in to the final chicane, he makes it 2 positions and 2 corners. as he does the double then on his teammates. Beautiful driving there by Gavin Taylor. Gets himself back up to 11th position then. And if any of the Wiz Motorsport media team are watching, that there is a clip you absolutely want to put on a highlight reel. O'Brien, 7/10, still down on Dean Power. 17 minutes in the rain to go. Which one of them is going to be given it the singing in the rain come the end? Alex Mielchen trying to get his way past Gallimini then. The battle of the BMW and the Aston. Good exit there from the BMW for Fabio Gallimini. Still hanging on to his position inside the top 10. A Corsi looking to get back up as many positions and points as he can. Started on the second row of the grid. Oh, and I tell you, he looks lively for getting an overtake done as well. Oh, got a good run on Flanagan there out with the old hairpin, side by side up the hill into the right-hander. This is going to be close on the brakes. The left-hand kink first up through the tight right on that inside Kerbin. Keep it off the outside Kerbin. The BMW, you can see having a bit of a wiggle there. Just even 2 tyres in these conditions on that green AstroTurf, and that car will unsettle and more than likely try and pop you in the wall and end your race spectacularly. No spectacular crashes, thankfully, for these two. And it is a Corsi up another position. Alex Mielchen and Gallimini getting very close to one another yet again. Brighton and McSweeney looking pretty close. And Roberto Ricci rejoined back up on track. And he is back to fastest car on the track. 3 laps down. But he will bring home points, of course, for finishing the race. Unbelievable bad luck there. Kunos, please sort your service out, thank you. Oh, more 3-way action then. Gallimini, Mielchen. Is that Gavin Taylor that's caught right back up? It is indeed. He's wasted no time catching up to the drivers ahead of him. Let's jump onto the Mercedes bonnet. Oh, the BMW not getting a good exit out of Goddard's there. And along the start-finish straight and into turn number 1. It's a straight drag race, and the Mercedes looks like he's got the run round the outside. The BMW is going to be heavy on the brakes to try and maintain it. And right up the inside, great cutback move there by Gavin Taylor down towards the Craner curves. He's got the run and he's got that move done. Phenomenal drive there in the wet. Gav Taylor, a couple of moves now we've seen in turn number 1. Great stuff. Can Taylor now catch up to Mielchen? Can Gallimini hang on to the back there? I'm sure we're going to see the BMW try and fight back again. We'll need to get that livery looked at. We'll just double check, make sure the guys and gals have got them all uploaded to Awesome Liveries or Awesome Sim Racing all correctly. But yeah, Gallimini now chasing this pack, and Gavin Taylor. Can he catch up to Mielchen? Mielchen on an absolute flyer. He's actually on a personal best lap. So too Trevor McSweeney, who's 1.1 down on Brighton. Now looking to catch up there. Evan Cairns. It's just Evan Cairns, just a single E. Thanks very much, Mr. Commentator. But Evan Cairns, 6.8 seconds to the good as we reach and breach the halfway mark in the race. 14.5 minutes left to go. The rain will be constant, so the conditions shouldn't change too much. So it is all about just keeping this one and bringing it home for Evans. Could potentially push for the fastest lap, but given that Ricci's going to finish 13 positions behind him, that is going to massively change the landscape of the championship, which I have quickly been trying to work out. And Ricci's been kicked again. That is absolutely heartbreaking stuff. But yeah, if he does get back in and finish 14th position, it will put a 45-point difference in the scores for this round. And it will give Cairns a massive lead going into the final round. Yeah, sorry. It's hard not to be heartbroken to see a championship decided by server disconnects, but at the way it's looking at the moment, it certainly looks like Evan Cairns has been not only handed this race win, but a massive lead in the championship going in. He's only 12 points behind, and there's going to be a 40-point difference in the points that they bring home for this race if Ricci can get back in and finish. We do have more on board. Ricci, please. Okay, how is this possible that a driver got disconnected? It's a server issue. unfortunately. The Kuno servers, they've been having issues right across the board recently. You can really hear me breathing in this. I don't like this. Yeah, the servers have been having issues. I know another couple of places, organisations that have had servers disconnect towards the end. There is a new update coming. Hopefully, they manage to... yeah, so hopefully they manage to get themselves sorted out and get the servers a bit more stable because, yeah, like you say, these disconnects at the minute are just absolutely unacceptable. Massively unacceptable. Especially considering that consumers, i.e. the drivers, have not only got to pay for the game, they've got to buy the DLC, and then organisations have got to rent servers, and yeah, so it definitely needs an overhaul. From the inside out, it would appear. But yeah, back to the race. We've got 11 minutes left to go. The rainy conditions have separated the drivers quite the distance then. Evan Cairns is now almost 8 seconds ahead of Dean Power, who's got 2.5 seconds now over O'Brien in that Honda. Jason Lingard only 1.4 seconds down on O'Brien. In fact, 1 second down on O'Brien. Rafa Scullion in 5th position, Paskin in 6th, Accorsi in 7th, Flanagan is in 8th, Milchin still in 9th, Gavin Taylor in 10th place, Gallimini in 11th, changing the positions there, Brighton in 12th, and McSweeney bringing up the rear at the moment in 13th place. So at the moment it does look like Lingard is closest, although Taylor and Milchin looks like that's going to get pretty close pretty soon. I don't know what's happened to this microphone. Audio, don't you just love it? Jason Lingard, 1 second, but that looks a lot closer than a second. Oh, there we go. As they come into the Fogarty S's, 3/10 of a second then. He really is putting O'Brien under pressure then. O'Brien all over that inner sausage curb there in the Honda, down into the double hairpins. Melbourne then Goddard opens the corner up, does Lingard. He knows he's pulled a cutback here already. He knows how to pull a cutback, as we've seen. So it was turn 1. He got that original cutback pulled in. Almost getting another one there on O'Brien. Taylor's closed right in on Milchin as well, as he chases him through the double hairpins as well. Is he gonna... Oh, he's positioning the car on the inside line then. Oh, although Milchin has run a bit deeper potentially than he would have wanted. Taylor keeping that very close to him indeed then. So too Lingard chasing O'Brien down towards the Craner curves once again. And Gavin Taylor's the other car. Oh, good exit from the last corner, almost getting it done out of the last corner. He's having a look up the inside, that's a bit far back to have a look into turn number 1. Definitely getting close on the brakes though. The Mercedes seemingly handling the conditions better than the Aston Martin at the moment, although up ahead the Aston Martin certainly seems to be handling the conditions better than the Honda, as we see Lingard still attached to the back of Jason Lingard. Roberto Ricci has rejoined the server once again. Hopefully makes it to the end this time. Let's see where Lingard is. There he is, there he is, there he is. And through, oh, not as close as I thought he was there, sorry. Taylor still quite close as well. 13 out on track, Ricci back in, makes it 14, 7 laps down. So yeah, massive deficit in the points. Taylor into the Fogarty S's again. He's still, oh, and that is a big wiggle by Milchin then, and Taylor is just going to sail on past him. Or is he? It's a good line by Milchin. Surely going to go for the cutback here. The Mercedes absolutely does. Takes the inside line on exit. He's going to have the outside line into Goddard's. Both going to have to be very, very good on the brakes here. The Mercedes keeps it as close as he can. Oh, and the Aston has a little bit of a run wide on the exit there. Couldn't quite maintain his momentum, but he has maintained that position into turn number 1 for the start of lap number 14. The Mercedes will have a look this time. He knows he's better on the brakes. He's positioned it right up the inside. Almost contact with the two of them on the exit to turn number 1. The Aston 2 wheels on the green AstroTurf. And it is the Mercedes of Taylor up to 9th position then, down towards the old hairpin. He has definitely made that one stick for the moment. The Wiz teammates trading positions. Jason Lingard looking to be the second Wiz Motorsport driver to get an overtake on his teammate desperately. He is chasing down this podium. O'Brien, as I mentioned, wasn't keen on the Honda's chances, did feel that a podium always on the cards. It's motor racing. To finish first, you must first finish. And yeah, anything can happen. As we've seen so far, servers disconnects in 3rd and 4th place making contact in turn number 1. 3rd place did manage to get back to 4th at the moment, and the Corsair is back up to 7th position, 1.8 down on Ian Paskin, who's definitely got the bit between his teeth. He was 2.8 down on Rafa Scully, now 1.2 seconds down. He's got 6 minutes left at Donington to get the job done if he can. He definitely does have a chase on his hands though. And even if you can catch him quick enough, getting an overtake done in these conditions, not always the easiest, especially around this course, although we've seen some absolute worldies into turn number 1. Lingard again getting very, very, very close indeed. Up into Coppice in the Aston. That's a good exit by the Honda, and that's going to be enough of a gap, you would feel, going through the fog at the S's for O'Brien to maintain the position till the end of this lap again. So it's going to be another lap of Lingard chasing. 5 minutes he's got to try and find a chink in O'Brien's armour, someplace he can exploit a weakness in the Honda. Again, opens the corner out nice and wide to try and get that early cut back. Not to be though, but look how much that's closed the gap. That's definitely closer than 3/10 now. Into the last corner. Oh, very good. Oh, and was that an extra dab on the brakes there? I think the Honda almost lost it. And on the exit, the Aston having a bit of a wiggle, but it is bang on 3/10 of a gap still between these two. Oh, the Aston bravely onto that outside grass. I know the drivers do that a lot in the dry, but in the wet, that is brave manoeuvring. Down towards the Craner curves, both cars having a bit of a wiggle on the exit then. They've got Dean Power ahead of him. Dean will be absolutely delighted to see this battle going on behind him. And he's maintaining, you can hear his engine, that 3-second gap back. He's got 10 seconds down now on Evan Cairns. Brighton still trying to find his way past Gallimini. Nothing happening there at the moment, but he is certainly keeping himself in Gallimini's thoughts just ahead in the BMW, and a Corsair looking to improve on his position again. He's got Ian Paskin just ahead of him. He's well within a second there. Lingard, oh, well within a second there as well. 2/10 separating those two through the last time in Delta, so he's definitely looking the quicker of the two. And in fact, his fastest lap, half a second quicker than O'Brien's in the Honda. Having a look again, open that corner. It's going to have no room for the cutback there, or does he? He's going to really need to swing the nose of that Aston round. He's managed to do so. He's got a very good run. That's going to be a good side-by-side, potentially. No, it's not. He's having a look up the inside, goes right round the outside. Heavy and late on the brakes for the Aston. Lingard still trying to press a mistake, trying to press a move, trying to find a gap in O'Brien and O'Brien's lines, and he absolutely unable to do it at the moment. A Corsair has gotten his way past Paskin already. I did think that one would last a bit longer. And Rafa Scullion not far ahead of them as well. So Paskin was closing in on a Scullion like I thought, but a Corsair closing in a lot quicker. And again, is it a cut back through Melbourne? Nope, down towards Goddard's. Oh, you can see just how close he is there. It's only a matter of time, absolutely, before he gets that done. Again, gets himself a very good entrance and exit to the corner, as you would expect, into turn number 1. Oh, they've re-swapped positions. Which is something I should really know. I should sound like that was more factual than a question. But yeah, so they are back to a Corsi, Paskin and Scullion leading the way for this group of 3. Jason Lingard still behind. Nigel O'Brien. Oh, and that might... Oh, and O'Brien's got a drive-through. O'Brien's got a drive-through for track limit violations. I was just about to say that was quite the run over those curbs there, and he isn't even going to fight this position now because he knows he's about to fall massively down the order. So let's jump back on board with a Corsi. Still trying to find his way past the Audi and the Porsche, Paskin and Scullion. O'Brien with a drive-through. That is absolutely devastating for him. So his championship is about to take a massive turn for the worse as well. With only 2 minutes left to go in the field, so close. He is about to plummet down the order. A Corsi looking for a double overtake as he can as he crosses the line with, as I say, 2 minutes left to go. We're 18 laps deep into this one. And what a race it's been. Action on the opening couple of laps. Saw the order completely shaken up. A server disconnect and now a drive through for track limit violations has seen the order changed massively, although O'Brien back out in 7th, in fact. So nowhere near as detrimental as I thought it was going to be, as we're on board still with a Corsi. Look how close he's getting to the Audi. Absolutely got the making of him here. Opens the corner up nicely. Again, look at the exit he gets compared to Paskin ahead of him. Up towards Coppice. Anxiously looking for any opportunity he can to get the car past. He takes a bit of a wider line, which is going to give him a lot more momentum. He's going to need to do a bit more braking into the fog at the S's. But it's certainly on the cards for him at the moment. Rafa Scullion defending technically from both of these cars at the minute. Paskin knows, though, if he tries an overtake and can't make it stick, leaders on the final lap, if he can't make an overtake stick, he's going to open the door for a Corsi to walk right through, much like we saw earlier with Deportier before he was disconnected rudely from the server. 12 seconds is the gap Dean Power has to Evan Cairns ahead. So Cairns, as I said, he's had very little camera time out the last corner, and that one is going to stretch them back out again, in fact. But there is Evan Cairns on what is now very much a victory lap. Pretty much bang on the halfway mark through the last lap, and it has been job done. Ricci very much in contention for that second place. He's taken the fastest lap of the race, but he's also been disconnected twice, which is why he's 8 laps down on the leader. Gallimini still defending from Briarton then. Evan Cairns just coming through the fog at the S's. So it is another Ferrari win in the series, and it is back-to-back wins for Evan Cairns. And the points here will see him top the table going into the final round at the Nürburgring. A Corsi still trying to get his way past the 2 drivers ahead. This is how close they are. They're just coming into the fog at the S's as well, so not far down on the leaders. But there is Evan Cairns crossing the line, taking the checkered flag and bringing home back-to-back wins in the series. Dean Power is going to find himself on that podium. Oh, Brian with another drive-through. How could he have picked up? That's impossible, almost. But Dean Power gets himself second. It is Jason Lingard rounding out the podium in 3rd place. Rafa Scullion rounds the last corner for a season-best finish for himself. 4th place there for the Porsche. And Ian Paskin did hold off a Corsi. Managed to get himself 5th, with the Corsi finishing in 6th thanks to O'Brien's double drive-through. 7th place for Nigel then. Dylan Flanagan brings home 8th place. Gavin Taylor crosses the line to take 9th, with Alex Mielchin not far down the road crossing the line to take the checkered flag to round out the top 10. Fabio Gallimini in the BMW crosses the line to take 11th. Stuart Briarton gets himself 11th position. Trevor McSweeney is going to cross the line in 12th place. And of course, Roberto Ricci crossed the line, was given a checkered flag for 13th place after those server disconnects. Absolutely brutal end there for our championship leader. But yeah, that what a race that was. Let me just... So yeah, another phenomenal race. 15 started, only 13 survived to the end. Cool server disconnects being the main story of this one, if we're being honest. Roberto Ricci, the big loser in this one. How is this going to affect them going into the Nürburgring next week? We will certainly find out. The big winner in this one, absolutely, Evan Cairns. Phenomenal overtake he made into turn number 1. And yeah, then went on to comfortably bring home the race win. So phenomenal race by Evans, and congratulations to Dean Power and Jason Lingard, both making their first appearances on the podium in this series. Power with a season best 4th so far. So yeah, welcome result there for him. And Lingard, so far this season, his best so far has been a 6th place. So well done on those two for getting the podium. And of course, Rafa Scullion, last week got a 6th, this week gets himself a 4th place. So some great results for some drivers, not so great for others. This is the way of the motorsport. That is all from me this evening. This was, of course, Wiz Motorsports Super League Season 3, round number 5 at Donington Park. I was, of course, Mr. 00 Raven, or John Wright, as I'm also known. And next week it will be the final round, round number 6, the Nürburgring. Expect more fireworks and action then. So make sure you set your calendars, clocks, and everything you need to make sure you're here to watch all the action. Until then, stay safe, have yourself a great rest of your evening, and have a very good night. Good night.